Welcome to another podcast episode of Get Paid for Your Pad. Today I am here with Gosha Cook. She's a CEO and founder of Coastal Properties, which is a vacation rental management company out of Myrtle Beach, the number one vacation rental management company in Myrtle Beach. And of course, we all know Myrtle Beach from Kenny Powers, Eastbound and Down, my favorite TV show. If you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. Season 1 is awesome, but I think it's season 2 that's in Myrtle Beach, or season 3 maybe. But that's a whole different topic. Gosha, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm very well, thank you. Today we are going to talk about cleaning. Cleaning, of course, is a really important topic right now. Guests are very concerned about cleaning, but we're not necessarily going to talk about how to clean a home. We're actually going to talk about how do you find good cleaners, how do you train them, and how do you manage them. And that's something that Gosha has specialized in, I would say. She's been sharing a ton of awesome knowledge in our mastermind, in the Short-Term Rental Legend mastermind, on this topic. She's not only hired, trained a cleaning team, but also she then trained one of her cleaners to become a cleaning manager, and then she actually sold the job of cleaning all of her units to a company that she helped her cleaner manager found. So sounds very complicated, but it's a great system that she put into place. So really excited to dive into it. Gosha, thank you for joining. So let's dive in with the first topic, which is how do you find great cleaners?
Right. Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. And yes, just like you said, cleaning is very important part of the business. And it's actually, one of the top things that people look at when they're looking for their management, for their vacation rental or the property management company that they want to work with when they have a property. So it's very important to do it right, but it is not very easy to get it done right, or it takes time to find the right cleaners. It's not usually the first one or the second one that you work with that might be the right one. You just have to be persistent. You have to know exactly what standards you're looking for, and just don't settle for anything that's less than that, because house cleaning is different than vacation rental cleaning. So when you're finding a lot of people that have cleaning experience, they may not necessarily have the experience that you need. So it's just, it's a little bit different, but the standards are high. And, here in Myrtle Beach, I assume everywhere else too, especially during the time of COVID, this is, a big thing that everybody's looking at is the cleanliness. So we were actually, with my company, I was fortunate that as the company was growing, the very first cleaner that I found was the best one that I've ever had. So it was easy for me, because when I trained her, she had a great attention to details, great work ethics, everything that you are looking for, not only in a cleaner, but also in a business partner, somebody that you work with, that you can rely on, that they're going to come to work on time and do everything that needs to be done and extra, that they care about the business. A person like that is not easy to find. But the first one that I found as I was growing my business was that very person. It was with the second, third, and few next ones is when we went through a lot of trouble. So that's why I know it's just be persistent. Never, don't settle for anything less than what you're looking for. You need to set the expectations clearly, and just look for the people that have the same understanding of what you're looking for, and they can provide the service that you need.
So you found your first cleaner. You said it was actually the best cleaner that you hired. Is she also the one that ended up managing the entire cleaning team, and who now owns a company, and
Yes.
you hire her to do all your cleanings?
That is the one, actually. Yes. When you presented that story in the introduction, it did sound a little bit complicated, but as my company was growing, and her being the first person that I actually worked with here in Myrtle Beach, when my company was growing, it just came out so natural. Everything fell into place. It wasn't complicated at all. It was actually as the company was growing, it just made sense. And this was the first thing I was thinking about, like, we need to do it this way. And yes, she is a great at what she does, but also great at running a business. So that's why when we were scaling, it just only made sense to, delegate everything to her.
So let's take a step back because we want to know, how do you find great cleaners? So I'm really curious to know, number one, how do you find this person? But also imagine that you're talking to a new host who wants to start a property management business and is looking for great cleaners. What would your advice be to that person?
Check your network first, I would say. See if you have any people that from your, the closest, maybe not necessarily friends, or just, friends of the friends, or your friends, anybody that that they're ethical, that they're hardworking, and just see if they might be looking for extra income. They don't have to start as, a company owner. As a matter of fact, the cleaner that owns the company right now, this was just her, additional income. She was a stay-at-home mom, not, the husband worked, and she just, kids were a little bit older, so she was just looking for, a little side job. I don't even actually remember if she was looking or if it was actually me approaching her to see if she may need, some extra work because I need help. I think that's how that happened. And she was like, she immediately, yeah, sure, kids are a little older. I could use some extra money. So that's basically how she started working for me a little bit in the beginning. And then as we were growing, that became her, full-time job. And then even further, that became her business. But I would say, to answer your question, definitely check with the people first, see whom they can refer. Right now, today, aside from the cleaning company that we subcontract, we have a little bit of in-house cleaning that we do for several units, about 20 at this time. It's during summer. Her company, they were at full capacity, so they weren't taking any more units, but we were still growing. So we kind of having my office fully staffed, having my runners and everybody else in place. We started doing cleaning in-house again, just because I didn't want to, not take clients for management. We had to do it. So all of my cleaners that are cleaning for us right now, they're from referrals. I didn't have to look, post or anything, just was asking people that I know, people whom I trust, to see if they know anybody that's looking for additional income. And they were, sending people our way. Not all of them were the right kind of person that we were looking for. But we found good cleaners. It takes time to train, to set the expectations, but none of them comes from like job advertising.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and that's something that we see a lot. That obviously the job application sites, Indeed, you can post on Craigslist. There's a whole lot of those type of sites. But what we see is that a lot of people end up going with somebody that they meet through their personal connections, which is really interesting. Um, the next question I want to ask you is, you talked about training cleaners, right? So how do you train a cleaner?
You have to be, once again, patient. You have to know exactly what you're looking for. If you don't explain to them clearly what your expectations are, they're not going to be a good cleaner. They may think they know. If they don't have vacation rental cleaning experience, they really don't know anything that you're looking for. Your guests' suite needs to be cleaned differently than your home. When guests walk into the suite, it's got to look like it's brand new. They don't want to think that somebody just stayed there 6 hours ago. Everything needs to look like it was never used before. So it's a little bit different type of cleaning. It's a little bit different things that we have to focus on. So we basically, it used to be, in the very beginning with my first cleaner, I trained her myself. We didn't have that much work. I went with her, I showed her, which was really great because I have attention to details. So I will over explain, show from one corner of the place all the way around every single thing, top to bottom, what you need to focus on, what you need to pay attention to. Then another thing is staging. Cleaning is one thing, then they need to stage it certain way. So if you have a person that knows exactly everything about the property, that person needs to go and train and show them and explain. You just cannot assume that they know, because most likely they don't know what you're looking for. If your standards are as high as ours are, they're not gonna know what to do. So putting them, to work and not explaining what we're looking for is just not fair, because they're gonna fail. We don't want them to fail. We want them to do, as well as they can do. With my now in-house cleaners, not only we showed them certain things, and with my company being as big as it is right now, I don't have time to go and show every single one of them like I showed my very first one years back. So the inspector would go and do that, show and explain everything that we're looking for, but then still things were getting missed. They were good, hardworking ladies. I saw that they were trying. It's just it seemed to me like they were missing more than what they should be missing. I wrote down, I had for my inspectors, I had like the inspection checklist. And with my inspectors, I tell them, when you're going in, your job is to find something that's wrong. If you don't find it, if you don't find that something is wrong, you didn't do your job. You got to find something. There's no way that everything is, perfect, 100%. So you're going to go find something that's wrong and you're going to correct it. So that checklist that I prepared for my inspectors, I actually had it translated for our cleaners, and I gave it to the cleaners, and I told them, look, you go, you do your cleaning just like you usually do, but then also focus on those things. They're gonna look for that. On top of everything else that you're doing, make sure that they don't find these mistakes. So I think, and with a little bit of patience, they've gotten so much better. They're doing very well now. They're very reliable. It's just, you have to explain to them exactly what you're looking for, and then just give them a little bit of time. It might take, it's not everybody that's going to pick up immediately. You have to be patient with them. But also, with that in mind, you have to have great inspectors that will, in the beginning, pick up more of the missed things than later. But once you have those cleaners that are trained properly and doing everything like they should be, it makes then inspector's job easier.
Wow, that's really interesting. So you hired inspectors to to check on the units, and I love how you gave them the job of like, hey, you got to find at least one thing, because otherwise you're not doing your job well.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really setting the bar very, very high. You're setting the expectations very high, which I think is great. But at the same time, it sounds like you are taking responsibility for if it's not being done perfect, then you're thinking about like, okay, how do I train this person to do a perfect job? Not necessarily thinking, okay, this person isn't good. As you mentioned, it takes a little bit of time to educate the staff to perform that high of a quality job, right? So I think that's really powerful that you realized that it's, if the cleaner doesn't do a perfect job, then you look at what's your process for training them and see if you can improve that before you come to the conclusion that the person isn't a good cleaner.
It's the details that they were missing. The cleaning was done fine, everything was done well. It's just, we are very details oriented. I mean, I am in every aspect of my business. So when it comes to cleaning, I'm also very detailed oriented, and I tell them exactly what they need to look for. So it's not that they weren't good cleaners, it's the details. And they were, some things that were missed, the same things, the same person missing the same things. We have to, we have to help her. We have to communicate with her. If we don't tell her what she's doing wrong, she maybe doesn't know that this is supposed to be done. But
sure,
basically, everything needs to be cleaned these days.
And I like that you're not assuming that they already know a lot of things, because you're right. It's very different to clean a vacation rental or an Airbnb versus somebody's home, right? Mm-hmm. The standard has to be much higher. Plus, you're not just cleaning; it's more of a turnover, right? So you're really preparing the space to receive a particular group of guests, and you could even do the turnover differently depending on the group of guests that you're receiving. You think of the amount of towels or the type of people, the age of the people that are coming. Like, you might prepare the unit slightly different, right? If there's a baby in the group, you might put the baby cot out.
Mhm.
So so I like what you're saying, is that just kind of realizing that it's not just cleaning, it's the staging, it's really preparing the space.
Right.
So that's great. Let's talk a little bit about managing, because well, how many units do you currently manage?
We have 70 units, a little
70
over seven.
units.
Mhm.
And how many cleaners do you need for 70 units?
So we have the cleaning company that we subcontract. They have um, 52 of our units right now, and then the rest, about 20, we clean in-house. But like I said, that wasn't something that we planned or intended to do, like to start another cleaning company. It was just because we were, summer was busy, and the company that we're using, they weren't accepting more, units at that time. Right now, they are in position to take more. It's slow. The summer's over. Anybody, we have open properties. We don't have that much business right now, so they don't have that much business right now. So she's in a position to accept more now. So we gonna just, stop at where we are right now, not try to grow the cleaning part. Just gonna continue growing our management business. But for her properties, I don't know how many cleaners they have, but they clean total of 150 properties.
Mm,
Last time I talked to her, but for the 20 that we have, I only have 3 cleaners,
got it.
and
Got it.
one is part-time, 2 are full-time.
So the question then is, let's say you have 3 cleaners, you have 5 or 7. How do you manage all these cleaners? How do you make sure that they know which units they have to go to? All the units are different. They have different staging, different groups of guests coming. Like, how do all the cleaners know exactly what they need to do?
So within our units, we try to standardize as much as possible. We have the same bedspreads across most of the units. We have, let's say, throw pillows on the couches. They go exactly the same way in every unit, or there is a centerpiece somewhere. So all of that part, we try to, have the same um, throughout all of the units that our in-house cleaners clean, as well as all other units. So that doesn't matter which unit the cleaner goes to, she'll know what to do. So they're not really unit specific. We don't have cleaners assigned to particular units. And the reason for that is I don't recommend it if somebody is thinking about it, is because if one cleaner constantly misses something, let's say she won't clean the baseboards, the next one will come in and she'll pick up that part. So that's why we don't assign units to the cleaners. And plus, right now with the slower season, if one unit rents more than the other, that gives more, it doesn't distribute the work evenly between them. Basically, right now, it's my office staff that manages it. We have a lot of open units, so it doesn't make sense to make weekly schedule for the cleaners because things do change at last minute. So they basically, they schedule them which cleaner is off which day. And then for the ones that are working on certain days, they receive their schedule of work the day before in the evening, because then there is just, small chance that something might change by the next day. So they receive the unit numbers that they're gonna clean and the order in which they want to clean. They have to be cleaned because some are same day turnovers, some are late checkouts or whatnot. So that's basically my office staff does that. And then for inspections, after the units are cleaned, we have inspectors. They communicate between each other. And I try, even though I am actually on that message thread, just in case I need to reference it for something later, I try not to look at it anymore.
Why do you not look at it?
It's, if I'm sitting and reading it, it's like I'm doing it. And I'm trying, where I am with my business right now, I'm not trying to be the manager of the cleaners. That's their job right now, and it's hard for me to actually let go of any parts that I don't need to do anymore. in my business. That's, I like controlling and, you know, overseeing everything. I just don't have time to do it. So when I find myself that I start looking at those messages, I'm working on that, doing that instead of doing something else.
Right. Yeah,
And
that's
that's going to help you if you're trying to scale. If you're doing everything yourself, you're not going to scale.
yeah, you can do that for a few units, but not for 70.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit more about how you set this up, because as you were growing your company, you were hiring more cleaners. You had all your cleaners in-house. At some point, you had one cleaning person who was kind of managing the team, but then you helped that person to start her own company, and now you're subcontracting to her company to do most of your cleanings. That's a really interesting structure, and I think that's really cool how you empowered that person to start her own business. So can you talk a little bit more about why you set it up that way and what that process looks like?
So the reason why I decided to do it was because my business was growing. And I told you a little bit of that story before. My business was not supposed to be a business. It was just supposed to be, you know, a little bit of taking care of my own properties, our own investments. But then before I knew, I found myself running a property management business. And that was when I was managing both cleaning side and management side. So once I realized that I'm running a business, actually, this isn't just a hobby or just taking care of, you know, a few of our own properties. I think we were at about 20 or 30 at that time. So not that big yet, but big enough to be more than one person can handle. So then I realized, you know, that business is growing. We have a steady increase of customers, you know, new clients. It's gonna, you know, the bigger we get, the faster we're growing, because more of our clients, they know more clients, you know, every new person that you meet opens a new network. So I realized that, and I figured, you know, I can't do both. I can't run cleaning company and management company. I gotta let go of something, and it was just a natural thing, of course, to let go of the cleaning side of the operation, just so that I could focus on, you know, our guests, our customer service, and on our relationships with the clients, and on getting more, you know, more clients and more properties for us to manage. So basically, that was one day when I realized I have to sell the business. And my first thought was, it just seemed like, you know, the first thought that came to my mind was that Basha should buy it, that it makes sense because she's already doing everything that she would be doing, but working under my company. She can do exact same thing, just be her own separate company, subcontracted by my company. And I called her almost immediately. You know, sometimes when you spontaneously like get that idea, you want to tell somebody. So I called her and told her, like, look, I'm selling the cleaning company. Do you want to buy it? And immediately she's like, yes. She didn't ask like much back then. I think maybe she was as shocked as I was to come up with that, you know, decision. Because like I said, it wasn't something that I was thinking about and then like maybe I should do this or that. It just came to my mind, like, I gotta sell that. I made a call and she said yes, and that was done. There was no way back. But it really turned out very well for both of us, just because I could focus on growing my business. With how my business was growing, her business was growing.
Right. Yeah, and by basically empowering her to start her own company and taking full responsibility of the cleaning side of your business, you then freed up time for yourself and brain space to really focus on growing your business, adding more units, and maybe even getting some more free time for yourself as well.
That was the plan. The free time, you know, sometimes you have to make time for your free time, because the business, you know, it operates all the time. There's always something to do. So it's not like there is ever a free time. You just have to make time for it. Just decide, I'm taking a break, I'm not working right now. But that's exactly what you're saying, that mental break from not having to think about all of that cleaning, because I knew that she could handle it well. that she knew already what we were doing, what the standards were, every single aspect of what was, what a new cleaning company, had I sold to somebody else, everything that a new cleaning company would have to learn, she already knew. So it was a very smooth transition. It was really, really a big peace of mind for me. And, that fresh energy that I could use to grow the management side of the business. And it did grow very quickly.
Yeah, and congratulations on that. I think that
Thank
was
you.
a very smart move. Just to wrap up this podcast, I'd love to talk a little bit about Myrtle Beach. As I said before, my favorite TV show with Kenny Powers, Eastbound and Down. That's how I know Myrtle Beach. I've never been there, but I'd love to know a little bit about what is Myrtle Beach like, and is it how is it doing right now? With are you guys seeing a lot of vacationers, a lot of travelers?
That show I am yet to see. But as far as Myrtle Beach, we slowed down a little bit in March when the COVID started. We were locked down fully. No vacation rentals allowed at all through the month of April. So that was a little stressful. We didn't know how long that would last, but we were opened back in May, and it was busy immediately. We are a close, driven to destination to many states all around us. So there was, even though people didn't want to fly right then, or maybe still don't want to fly, they'll be comfortable driving to Myrtle Beach. So we're a great vacation destination where you can drive to. Um, has been very busy even after the summer finished. September was pretty good, I'm thinking, with people homeschooling or the virtual learning. So that was really good for us. It's quieted down a little bit. This past weekend was actually pretty bad, but it was the Halloween weekend, so I'm sure you're aware of the ban on nightly rentals or like 2-day rentals. If you live close to your destination, you're not allowed to book. That's what Airbnb was doing this weekend. So we didn't have that many rentals for the weekend at all. But I'm hoping it's gonna pick up a little bit. We have some monthly rentals right now from the so-called snowbirds.
Mm.
They're starting to come here from actually not Canada this year, because they can't come here from Canada just yet, but from northern states. They're coming in here just to wait through the winter. So it's nice, it's beautiful, it's warm, and it's just the best place to be.
Awesome. Well, for the people that are listening and they who are looking forward to a beach holiday in Myrtle Beach, how can they find you and your units?
They can find us, well, aside from Airbnb, Verbo, HomeAway, TripAdvisor, and Orbitz and Expedia. They can also find us on our website, yourcoastalproperties.com.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the website, yourcoastalproperties.com. And that's a Your Porter website?
That actually is, yes.
Yeah, it's
They've
amazing.
added so many good features ever since I started using them as our management software over a year ago. They've grown so significantly, adding the right features for us as we were growing.
Yeah, I just created my own website using Your Porter. I was going to create a video called Create Your Own Direct Booking Website Under an Hour. But I think I'm going to have to call it in under 10 minutes because I just connected my Airbnb listings and boom, the website was there. It was pretty crazy how quickly that went.
It does not take an hour. Yes, I think 10 minutes it's also pushing it. It's that seamless, quick, and easy. Anybody can have a website with them.
Yeah, it's a really great system, and the CEO Eric was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. He always has really good tips. So if you want your own direct booking website, Your Porter is a great option. You can use a code PAD PAD. You get $20 off. But yeah, give it a try. I'm using it myself now, and I was pretty surprised how quickly I was able to put together that website. Yeah, that was really impressive. Anyway, so coastal properties, vacation rentals. If you want to stay in Myrtle Beach, stay with Gosha in one of her units. Gosha, thank you so much for joining the show today. It was really great to have you on. Thank you for being a member in our mastermind, Short-Term Rental Legends. And I look forward to a lot of mastermind calls with you in the future.
Thank you for having me. It was great talking to you.
And to the listeners, thank you for listening. And of course, next week, there's another episode of Get Paid for Your Pet. So see you then.